create a little bit of space between where you were and where you are. Perhaps tuning in with what's going on with your body today. So noticing if you have any kind of stickiness or anything going on that might require a little bit of attention, or maybe might require a little bit of extra attention. A little less, a little more, whatever it might be. And then take another moment to commit yourself to your practice, to your place on your mat. I know it's sometimes a challenge when we're at home. There are all kinds of things that demand our attention. And then go ahead and allow your eyes to blink open. We'll start with a little bit of breathing and gentle movement, bringing your hands down by your side. And then as you inhale, we're going to reach the arms up and keep reaching up, up, up. Maybe if you have the space today, maybe look up, interlace the fingers, just remove or release the index and cross the thumbs. That's Kali Mudra. Maybe open the heart here. And then draw the hands down through heart center on an exhale. I'm going to do that a couple more times just to find that range of motion. Inhale, reach all the way up. Maybe interlacing the fingers the awkward way, so the opposite thumb is on top. Look up. Draw hands down through heart center on the exhale. And again, you might be moving a little faster or slower than me. The last time through that one. And then release all the way down. Nice. Bring your left hand to your left knee and reach your right arm up and open and behind. So just turning and looking behind you here. Nice. And then bring that right hand across and over to the opposite knee. And put the left hand behind you and look out over your left shoulder. Nice. And then cross that left hand over the right. So you have a little crisscross going with the arms here. And then just hinge and fold. So this will help you to open up the back. And then go ahead and lift all the way up. And then we're going to reach up and back with that opposite arm. Look behind you. Nice, take that nice big in breath. And then as you exhale, come across the body for that twist. Reach out behind. Look out over the right shoulder. And then cross the right hand over the left. So it should be the opposite way. It must be raining out. And then go ahead and hinge. If you have the space, you might bring your hands to the outsides of your knees. Otherwise, you can just bring them wherever it's comfortable. Start to hinge and fold forward, maybe getting a little deeper this time. And then come all the way back up. Nice, unravel those arms, unwind, find a little bit of movement through the shoulders, taking some shoulder rolls. Let's go ahead and bring the feet out in front. Knees are bent. Hands can reach behind you, and you can just sit back. A blanket, so I'm sliding everywhere. So you can just sit back and then take some gentle windshield wipers side to side to start. Just getting a little bit of movement here. So feeling around in the hips, noticing what's happening for you. And then sitting up nice and tall, bring the right leg across the mat and just sweep the left leg behind. So just a teeny tiny little hip opener here, starting to warm up. We're going to turn and look over the right shoulder, and then over the left shoulder, over the right shoulder, and the left. Nice. Back through center. Bring both feet out in front again. And take those windshield wipers and notice now you have a little bit more range of motion to work with. Let's let the legs fall to the other side. So the left leg comes across the top of the mat. The right leg folds behind you, sitting up nice and tall. Starting to feel nice and open already. Looking over the left shoulder. Looking over the right shoulder. The left. And the right. Nice, beautiful. Let's go ahead and find our way to our tabletop shape. So hands and knees on your mat. If you have a blanket or a block there, you can move that out of the way. We don't need it. We'll take a few rounds of cat and cow here. So pressing into the mat. Just take your time with it. Anything that feels kind of good. We'll be here for a few moments. So let's add on to this cat-cow here for a moment. Let's step the right foot back. Curl the toes under, and then take your right shoulder towards your right hip. Look over that right shoulder and just look towards that right foot. And then back through center. Keep those toes there, locked there, and look over the left. So this might get into the outside of your leg. For me, it's kind of like a low back stretch today. Nice. Back through center. Float that right foot to the outside of your right hand, and then just sink back down into a nice lunge. Both hands on the inside, and keep that foot planted down for this first one. We're just going to kind of get to know what's going on with our hips today. Nice. Go ahead and straighten that right leg and walk your hands back so you can find a flat back. So you can stay here. This is way more than enough. But if you have the space and you can keep that left hand on the mat and start to open up the right arm. Finding your way to that nice twist here. But again, if this is too much, you can stay in that little half split there. That's more than enough. Both hands come down, bend that knee, and step back into your tabletop. And we're just going to walk that left foot back, curl the left toes under, and do that same exact thing. So first we turn and look over the right shoulder and the left. And be careful not to dump into the belly here. So you still want to engage through your core. Nice. And then we're going to step that left foot to the outside of the left hand. And that nice low lunge first. And sitting back, finding your way to that half split. Yogi's choice, you can stay right here. If you have a block handy, you might use that as well to help you with this twist if you want to take that twist. Nice, both hands down. Perfect. And we're going to just rock forward here. So coming forward, releasing that right knee, turn all of your toes to the long edge of the mat, and let's find a nice wide-legged forward fold here. So letting your head be super heavy and just hanging there on the mat. You can bump your hips a little side to side if that feels good. Nice. So the left toes are going to point a little bit out towards that corner. We're just going to slide down into the left hip. My heel comes off the mat, but maybe you have a little bit more room. You can keep that heel off the mat. If this is too much for your knee, you can stay into a high lunge right here and keep that foot planted on the floor. And we're just going to go from side to side. So then just lifting up, coming over to the other side, peeling that left foot off the floor, Skarsdasana. Little surfer pose. Back through the center and over towards the left. This time, if you want to add on, you can reach that right arm up. And then over towards the left. Nope, that's your right. And reach that up. Nice. Both hands down. We're going back to the front of the mat. Find your way into a crescent warrior. So turn both sets of toes towards the front of the mat. Reach the arms all the way up. Maybe taking that Kali Mudra, interlacing the fingers, releasing the index and the thumb, and reaching up. Nice. Release the hands down to the mat. Slide that back foot in just about 6 inches so you can plant that foot down. Straighten that front leg and fold over that front leg. Take about 4 or 5 rounds of breath here. Inhale for a half lift. And then on your exhale, we're going to step the back foot to meet the front at the top of the mat, a little space between the feet, and then roll up slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Taking your time with it, reaching the arms all the way up, pressing palms together, overhead, maybe taking a little back bend. Hands come down to your heart, thumbs are in your sternum. And take this time to really root down and feel around, feel where your feet are. Check in with your balance here today. Keeping your feet exactly where they are. Hands come to your hips. We're going to hinge back through the hips, bend the knees, and sit down. Keep your hands at your hips for this first one. Into our chair, and then start to lift the heart. So your calves are going to limit how high that goes, right? Your lower legs. And then exhale, fold, hands come to the mat. On your inhale, find that half lift and step back with that left foot. First, we find our crescent, reach all the way up. Then we find that pyramid, straightening the leg, maybe sliding that back foot in about 6 inches so you can plant that foot down. So keep pushing that right hip back, left hip forward. This time we're going to step forward into our chair pose. So pushing off that back foot, both feet come together, or maybe a little space. Bend the knees, hands to heart center this time. So just like we did on the floor, we're going to twist that right arm back and left arm forward. So we kind of already did something very similar to this. Nice. And then go ahead and come back through center. Maybe the arms reach forward. Hooey, that chair. And then through the back, left side, look over the back shoulder. Make sure that your body stays where it is and just the arms are moving. And then inhale, let's stand all the way up, find a nice back bend. That should feel good. And then release down into a nice, easy forward fold. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows behind you. Bring the head. Hang. Yes, no, maybe so. Go ahead and release the hands down to the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, sit back. Inhale, reach your arms up for that chair pose. Nice. Hands come to heart center. And then float that right foot off the mat. And then step it back into your crescent. We're going to turn and look towards the left shoulder. Nice. And now on our exhale, we're going to open up into our warrior two. Go ahead and find your warrior two. Play around with your building your shape from the ground up. Relax your shoulders. Nice. Left elbow, left knee, right arm reaches up. This is enough for most of us. Or you might reach overhead and get that stretch. Inhale, sweep that top arm around. Maybe take the bind and left arm comes up or front arm comes up. Straighten that front leg. Find your way into triangle shape. Hinge. And the fingertips come down either to the mat, your ankle, your shin, your thigh. Nice. Both hands come down. Turn your left toes to that corner and sit down, Skarsdasana, surfer lunge. Right arm reaches up. Nice. And then we're going to take this all the way to the back of the mat. Find your way into that crescent. Reach all the way up. Hands come to your heart and turn and look over the right shoulder. Nice. Back through center. We're going to step the left foot forward into our chair pose. And then stand all the way up and take that forward fold. Maybe wrapping the arms around the legs. Go ahead and release the hands. Sweep the arms all the way up. Press palms together, sit down into your chair pose. We're going to float that left foot back and find our way into that crescent. Hooey. Beautiful. Look over that right shoulder. And then when you look over the left shoulder, we're going to tack that back foot down and find your way into that warrior two, second side. Sink low. Nice. Let's go ahead and reverse. Maybe taking the bind here. And then elbow to knee. Reaching long overhead. reversing this triangle, maybe taking that bind again, and then finding your way into your fullest expression of triangle, whatever it might be. Both hands come down. Turn the right toes to face that front corner, and then sit down, Skarsdasana, full circle lunge. And then all the way back to the front of the mat. Find your way into that crescent. Hands to heart center. Step forward into our chair pose. And then reach all the way up. Nice. This time maybe interlacing the fingers behind your back, opening your heart, and then hinging and folding forward. If that doesn't feel good, you can do something else with the arms if that feels better. And then go ahead and release the hands all the way down to the mat. Take a nice little half lift here. Heel toe your feet so they're about hip width apart. Keep your right hand on the mat, bend your right knee, and spin your left arm up and open. Nice. And then back through the second side. Nice. Inhale, find a half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Beautiful. Hands to heart center. Hoo-wee. All right, taking our little balance for today, we're going to find our way to a warrior three. So go ahead and reach that right leg up so the knee is even with the hips. Hands are at heart center. We're going to hinge. Draw your heel in towards your seat as you hinge forward, and then extend the leg long behind you. Now you can stay here. This is perfect. If you fall out, you fall out. And then from here, we're going to open the arms into a T, and then start to bring that left hand down to the mat and open up the hips. Find your way to your half moon. Exhale, both feet on the mat. Sweep the arms all the way up. Press palms together. Hands to heart center. Second side. Hardest thing we're going to do today. Left knee reaches up. Hinge. Pull that heel in towards the seat. Hinge forward. And then kick that foot out. So moving slow and controlled is better for balance. Take a moment to clarify. Arms are even with shoulders, which are even with hips, which are even with heels. Nice long line. And then if you want to open up the arms into that airplane and find your way to that half moon. Both hands and feet come down, forward fold, top of the mat. Ooh, shake that out. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. And then exhale, float down. So we're going to step back into our downward facing dog from here. We're not going to stay here long, just long enough to get a little bit of a stretch. And then bring the knees to the mat nice and wide, big toes touch. Sit back into your heels. Maybe your forehead comes to a block. Both hands come to the mat if they're not already. Just lift your head and find a nice stretch through the arms here. So maybe coming up onto fingertips. Walk your fingers as far away from you as you can get them. And then on your exhale, we're coming all the way down onto our belly. So making sure that you have the room on the mat here. So coming down into our Sphinx pose, our nice little back bend. Hands are in front of your elbows, which are right underneath your shoulders, making a little 90 degrees there. And then push the hips towards the mat while you lift the heart up between the shoulders here. This little back bend. So this is enough for most people. If you're not feeling anything in this shape, you can turn your hands out slightly and start to press into the hands and lift up into seal, which is a very deep back bend and not for everybody. So you're either in that Sphinx, which is perfect, or you're in that seal. Nice. And then from here, we're coming all the way down onto our belly. So just stacking your hands underneath your forehead and let yourself be very, very heavy here. If it feels good, you can bend your knees and let your feet sway a little side to side. Eventually bringing the hands or the feet all the way down to the mat. Let's take our nice shoulder stretch. So yogi choice, you can have that 90 degrees, so that goalpost arm on that right arm, that's really intense. Or if you know that you don't quite have that space, you can just reach that right arm out nice and long. Whichever one you choose, we're just going to roll. You can bend your knees or put the left foot on the floor. Find our way over to the other side. Place that left arm down. Doing whatever you did on the other side. So if you did that goalpost, go ahead and do that same thing here. If you just stretch that arm out long, you'll do that same thing. And then go ahead and unravel here. And then find your way onto your back, taking your time, coming back onto your mat. Pulling both knees into your heart space, giving them a nice big hug, maybe finding an Apanasana or not. It's entirely up to what feels good. A happy baby, a figure 4. I'm going to take a supine butterfly. So bringing the soles of the feet together right over your heart, making that diamond shape with the legs, and then pulling the heels down. So the heels stay glued together, and then pulling them down towards your body. So you look like somebody opened up a paper clip and then kind of pushed it into that V shape. And then go ahead and release when you're ready and find your way to whatever version of Shavasana feels good for you. So maybe feet on the floor, knees bent towards each other, perhaps on your bolster, or maybe just letting your feet reach nice and long down the mat, your arms reach out to the side. Letting go of your practice, letting go of your morning as we drift into that space in between. Beginning to bring movement to fingers and toes. Finding your way towards your right side and pausing there. And then eventually coming to any seat that works for you. So maybe your easy pose, your crisscross applesauce, your lotus, half lotus. And then checking back in and noticing the changes in your body from when we first began our practice and we checked in at the beginning to how it feels now. Maybe a little less sticky, maybe a little less achy, perhaps ready to move about the rest of your day, whatever that means for you. Thank you for joining me on the mat today. Have a fabulous rest of your day. Namaste, yogis.